Hello everyone and welcome to a new Rumble video. Today I want to talk about the latest edition of the Gilner Gazette, and in it Jagex say that chromium ingots are a problem for ironmen, and one of the solutions they have planned for the future is to add more of them to some other bosses, some other encounters. But one other solution they plan to add is an NPC at which you will be essentially able to buy them with GP. Once you get the vestige, the NPC will be able to make the ring for you for some coins. The coins should be more than the GE price for the chromium ingot, but still it will absolutely be able to just bypass the chromium ingot requirement for ironmen. And I really don't like that. So I posted a tweet that said, I play ironmen for the extra challenge it offers, and getting catered to left and right to bypass getting stuff yourself is the exact opposite. Getting some items is supposed to be prestigious and harder, not an expectation and made easier. But as we all know, Twitter has a character limit, so I decided to make this rumble to kind of expand my thoughts on the topic, because I think the Ironman mode is being taken in a direction that I really don't like for the past couple of years. So I would like to voice my concerns on the topic. So back to the chromium ingots. To create one ring, you need one vestige and 3 ingots. And adding a quote-unquote solution to what I don't even think is a problem in the first place, an NPC where you can pay GP to buy the ring from, is probably the worst solution I've ever heard of. First and foremost, I don't even think 3 chromium ingots for 1 ring is a problem. I know how it works out in practice. You get 1 vestige, you maybe have 2 or 1 ingot, so you move on to the next boss, and then you get some more ingots, but you get another vestige, so you need even more ingots, etc, etc. And usually when you're done with 4 bosses, you still need more ingots to finish all of your ring. That's how it usually plays out. But I don't see how that is a problem for Ironman. I think Ironman being an optional game mode should serve as an extra challenge. And the only thing Ironman mode does is you're not able to trade with other players. You have to get everything yourself. So as a byproduct of that, you will have to grind more for some things, and you will not be able to get your stuff by paying GP for it, how a regular account would be able to via the Grand Exchange. That's the basic, that's the core of the Ironman game mode. Of course, you have some other restrictions for UIMs and hardcores, but that's not the point of this video. I think that an NPC where you are able to pay coins to essentially buy chromium ingots is a grand exchange with extra steps for this one item only, and I think that's very, very, very bad for Ironman. As I said, I don't even think that 3 chromium ingots is a problem in the first place. I think you don't need all of those rings, and if you really want all of those 4 rings and you want to play an Ironman, you shouldn't see a problem in grinding the bosses longer just to get the required chromium ingots, because Ironman is supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be extra grinding. It's supposed to be extra additional time put in to obtain the things yourself. But if Jagex really absolutely wants to see this as a problem and they want a solution for it, then I think a much better solution to this, let's say, problem is tie some skills into it. One special thing about RuneScape is how the basis of the entire game is the skills. If you don't want people to have to farm a boss for essentially nothing, let's say, because you're no longer interested in any uniques, let's say you have all the vestiges, all you need are chromium ingots, then create an alternative way for players to obtain the ingots. Let's say add a minigame where you're able to find a chromium ore very rarely and it requires 90 mining to get. Of course, all of the ideas I'm gonna spitball right now are just off the top of my head and they are probably terrible, but the general idea I want to present is make it require skills. So the regular characters, non-Ironmen, are still not bound by having to grind those skills, but Ironmen, who should, the entire focus of Ironman should be to get things yourself, should, if they want a separate route of obtaining something, if you want to add that, then make it require skills, make it require some mining to obtain some chromium ore from God knows where, then make it require smithing or crafting to create the ring, even, I don't know, maybe some magic level to enchant it or bind it or something. Tie some skills into it. Don't make it just be GP. Or, as I said, just make new content, just how they propose, to add it to some other bosses. I think that's fine. If that's really such a problem, I think that's the much better solution than just making an NPC that takes your GP, because that is essentially grand exchange for this one item, or make it into a shop, and nobody really likes shopscape, I think. I'm getting a little bit heated talking about this, but I just really want to point out that I'm not trying to be overtly negative. I just really care about Ironman game mode, and I think it's being taken in a direction that I really don't like the past years. One other piece of content that I think is a big offender is the Scar Essence Mine. That was created to fix or solve the blood runes shortage, because essentially how I understand it goes is high-level Ironmen got scythes and their sangs, and they need blood runes to fuel these weapons, because you got the weapon, you want to use it, it's cool. And the main ways of obtaining blood runes are either from rune crafting them, which was pretty slow, buying them from shops, which was heavily contested, there is no blood rune packs, so the respawn timers at shops are long, and other players just take your blood runes. Or 3, there's a bunch of bosses that drop blood runes, but if you have a scythe, if you have a sang, you probably want to use those weapons to fight the bosses, so it kinda doesn't work out that way. So the Jagex solution was to add a Scar Essence Mine, where you essentially pay a lot of GP to obtain extracts that let you create vastly many more blood runes per one trip of crafting bloods. And that, to me, is grand exchange with extra steps, with like 2 extra steps, just so people can say, well, I'm actually rune crafting them. Are you, or are you just paying for bloods essentially because you do 2 or 3 laps and you have many more blood runes? On top of that, the Scar Essence Mine also provided buyable wrath runes, because you couldn't buy wrath runes from the store. Previously you had to runecraft all of them, and now you can buy the extract to runecraft tons of wrath runes. That's the main 2 things I really dislike about this piece of content. It's probably my least liked thing in the entire game, and this NPC for Chromium Ingots probably will be my number 2 if it gets added. And the main point I want to drive home is I don't think Jagex are fully to blame for this, because I think there's a lot of Ironmen that keep asking for those type of things, either to add blood rune packs, or they see nothing wrong with this car, or they see Chromium Ingots as a bad design for Ironman that needs to be changed. I don't think that the game should change to cater to Ironman. I think that Ironman should just accept what the mode is and grind harder, or accept what the mode is and let some things go. I don't have a scythe, so maybe I'm biased, but I don't think there's anything wrong with saving your bloods and then using them as a sort of power gaming moment to use your scythe at certain places where it's most worth using, and at other places just use an alternative. Does it probably suck if you got a scythe and then you have to decide to not use it at some places? I can see that. Maybe I don't understand something because I don't have a scythe. Maybe. But I still think that not having everything given to you, not having access to absolutely everything at the same time, is the core basis of Ironman. And especially now with GOTR robes, there really are more bloods in circulation. So I think that the Scar is overkill, and a big downside to detriment to Ironman mode. Yeah, I don't think Jagex are fully at fault here. I think that many people that play Ironman ask for it, and I just don't think it's good for the future of the game mode. On top of that, while I see a lot of people, in the past I saw a lot of people asking for both a blood rune solution and maybe a little less people asking for the Chromium Ingots fix. I think that it's human nature that everyone wants something to be made easier. Even the most hardcore old school fans that want nothing to change, they want something to get easier. I wanted for the longest time a non-PvP way of obtaining looting bags on a UIM, and I got a lot of flack for it, because I see that a lot of people that played UIM view adding an easy, convenient way of getting loading bags as making the mode easier. I completely understand that, and I still stood my ground that I would like a way to get looting bags that doesn't require any PvP. I made a video on it. I don't think that looting bag is only a PvP item anymore because we have the UIM game mode that relies on it. So for UIMs especially, that's not just a PvP item. It was added as a PvP only item in mind back in the day, but now with UIM it's no longer so. The things that I proposed were extremely easy escape. I see how they can be viewed as extremely easy escape. So what I proposed was, I think the Ironman tutor should be able to just give looting bags to UIMs because that's such an essential item to the UIM game mode. Just as you can right click him for armor, you should be able to right click them for looting bag if you are your UIM. But after I posted that video, what happened is looting bags got added to the Slayer store, and I'm completely fine with that. It's absolutely not efficient to buy them from the Slayer store. They cost 10 Slayer points, which is atrocious. If you dev pile or dev bank a lot, getting a looting bag by paying Slayer points for it is gonna wring you dry of Slayer points, let's say. But I still am happy with being able to get the item without any PvP. If you absolutely hate PvP, there is a way for you to obtain a looting bag. So I'm happy with that, and I no longer push for it. I'm glad. And I'm talking about all of this just to drive the home point that there is something that if you play an Ironman, you also want something to be made easier. And if everyone wants something to be made easier, consequently, there will be a bunch of things made easier across the years. And maybe you didn't want A, B, or C to be made easier, but maybe you wanted D to be a lot easier, a lot more convenient. And with all of the voices combined of the community, Jagex will listen to that, and at some point the game will just progressively get easier. And I think it's good to point out the most egregious things, as in my opinion are the Scar and the incoming Chromium Ingots NPC, maybe to stop the biggest offenders, let's say. Talking about biggest offenders, that's probably a topic for a whole another rumble in itself, but I'm also really not a fan of how you can mega scale Chambers of Xeric. Even if you have the skill and you carry yourself on your main, that's fine and dandy. That's probably much better than just buying boosts, because that doesn't help all of the shady boosting sites, etc. But I don't think Ironman should be able to benefit from other accounts at all. So it doesn't matter if you have a fully stacked regular character or a fully stacked other Ironman. If you make a new Ironman, a new hardcore, etc., and you mega scale your loots from cogs, it doesn't matter if you do it yourself to boost your alt or if you pay someone to do it. I don't think it has a place in the game. But as I said, that's a topic for an entire new rumble. Yeah, I think that will be it for the rumble. I once again want to say that if it says like I'm angry or negative, I would like to apologize. That's not the tone I wanted to give throughout this rumble, but being a non-English native speaker, it's hard for me to translate my thoughts in real time and say them in a cohesive manner, and also be able to control my tone and the way I'm speaking and the entire vibe I would like to present. It's not really all that easy. And the absolutely last thing I wanted to mention is, I know I'm preaching to the choir with this, because if you're watching RuneScape videos at all on YouTube, you are a person that's invested in RuneScape a bit. And if you're watching my channel, then you must be really invested, because I'm not one of the big guys. So essentially you had to watch one of the more popular channels and then watch a lot of YouTube to be able to find me. So I know I'm preaching to the choir with this, and there will be probably a lot of people that will agree with me. But if you have an opinion that disagrees with me, I would very much like you to share it in the comments. Maybe it's about just Chromium Ingots, or just this car, or just something else that I mentioned. I would like to see different opinions, because I changed my opinion many times in the past, and maybe I'm wrong again. I would just hope so. I'm not entirely wrong, and there is some stuff that you can agree on in this video. The last thing I want is just Ironman game mode to have no point to it, and just way down the road be a glorified regular account where people expect to have everything on an Ironman at all times. I think that would be a disservice to the game mode. Alright, not a happy topic today, but just some thoughts I had brewing in my head, and I just wanted to post them. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, please share your thoughts, hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.